My name's Josh Taylor. I am 21 and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a project that I finished last year. The aim was to send a weather balloon filled with helium up into the atmosphere and capture the journey on camera. Wasn't quite as simple as that, as it ended up going up and then falling where we hadn't planned it to fall, and it ended up in the sea. This was my blog that I started out with no anticipation of using it. It's more of a diary for me. And then eventually all the communities started looking at the blog, and I got a lot of cooperation from everyone and a lot of support for the footage. So the components, first thing was polystyrene box, thick walls, good insulation, keeps the heat inside, and also very light, and that was the key thing to make sure the whole thing was very light. And as we progress, you'll see all of these items you can pick up in your local shops. You could build it in a classroom. A couple of cameras I used. Again, this was the hardest thing for me. I had to find cameras that could film for 2 hours, had a battery life that enabled it to do that. And also I wanted some HD footage. So after a long search, these were the best options. Put a hand warmer in there. It can get to -50 or -60 out there. Obviously the wind conditions also make it very cold indeed, very hostile. So that was just chucked in to keep everything running. I'm still amazed this all works, so it's a bit of a shock for me as well. This little thing is a GPS. I send a text on my mobile phone, and it will send me a text back saying where it is with the coordinates. So that allowed me to track it. We also had another payload, almost piggybacking our one, just for backup tracking. These are seeds. Actually, Simon here very kindly donated £100 on behalf of his school, his kids' school even. The story... Sorry, Simon. Funny story behind that is that after being picked up in the sea, they had to look through it for anything dodgy. As you might have been able to see, that could have been a bit of a hazard. This is the weather balloon, at 5 foot at launch, filled with helium. As it rises up, it will get to around about 25 feet before it finally pops. And for anyone what you want to know is it got to 118,000 feet in the end. And if you think of a commercial airliner flying about 30,000 feet, it's very high. A lot of media attention came from this. I was happy with my article in the Surrey Ad, but apparently BBC wanted to get involved, so very happy with that. And then also it got picked up by the international media as well, and a couple of ABC and NBC over in America, they did a Skype interview with me. But I've also made sure to do a lot of community talks, such as this one, and go to the local schools and try and inspire other children to get involved and do this kind of thing as well. So then it came, oh yeah, also a lot of websites, obviously, streaming from the blog. A lot of websites picked up on it and did all sorts of articles. And I made a final video, which you can see on my blog, which is joshingtalk.com. It's a couple of minutes long, just showing all the steps and all the actual footage that I caught. So this was it just before launch. Again, very basic. It was the night before. Me and a friend drilled some holes in with a knife we found, and put some kitchen foil on the side there. Again, very basic. Nothing really scientific about this. I set out to prove that, you know, for a couple of £100, which is what we spent on it, I wanted to prove that you could get just as good images doing this kind of thing, the same as NASA would. This is on launch day. There's the pink payload, it's the one that piggybacked with us. This guy in the blue T-shirt on the right here, very professional. He had made all his own equipment. This is it on launch. He had made all his own equipment, and he got this antennae, which we tracked it with. Picture coming up at that in a minute. And then our white payload on the bottom, which was, well, very basic. So it felt a bit weird to have that much intelligence on top of there. This map shows, if you can see, shows where it should have landed, just here. And actually where it floated along, it decided to go for a bit of a walk, and ended up popping over the sea and falling down here. we actually we gave up that night because we couldn't find it. I travelled back home. It was based in Cambridge. Travelled back home, and then next morning got a text saying where it was, and we sent a boat out, ironically called No Worries, to go and get it. This is the tracking device that he used to track it. It didn't work. So we couldn't use any of that. We spent hours trying to track it. In the end, it was that tiny little white plastic GPS, commercial GPS, that helped us find it. There's a picture of it just floating on the North Sea. Overnight, 15 hours it stayed there. And we obviously, we got it the next day. All data secured, all the pictures, and all the footage from it. But it's a wonderful picture. Here it is coming back down on the descent over the coast. There's Southwold, if you're thinking of that area. And then the next couple of images really, I mean, they speak what the whole project is about. It's not much explanation needed, but it's what draws the attention to everything. Here we stitched some images. We got the east coast of England. There's France over in the corner there on your left. And then the next picture is probably the one that everyone knows about. It's two pictures that we stitched together. And you'll be able to see it's taken just before the burst. France over in the left, the Channel, south of England, and then the River Thames, we believe, up there. Showing a wonderful curvature of the Earth and ultimately giving us what we set out to achieve. So I was very happy with that, and I've got a couple more projects planned for this year. So head on to my blog, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it.